very, very instructive. You recall that on the 25th of November 2024, the Electoral Commission of Ghana issued an internal memo. That internal memo was supposed to go to all regional directors of the Electoral Commission. It's instructive to note, and I'll read verbatim what this statement is, and then you reflect on what is unfolding to the extent that Broja Jemfi will be calling on the U.S. Embassy to speak. It says that, I bring to you greetings from the Secretariat.
Military men on duty at those places do not cause any harm to ordinary citizens. I will also want to encourage political parties and their followers.
Amaya capture the capture screen the never mamaki. Ndia capture screen which means akona mnikizu na
Secretariat, and this letter was from
Encourage political parties and their followers that let's ensure that we tax all party supporters to go to those collation center. Anything out of that, the security agencies could do whatever they want to do. 2020, I saw something at New Dibiasi collation center myself. I mean, I was there, and a military man was wielding his gun, was parading through the collation center. So whilst all those things are being told, I am just trying to cast my mind back to what happened 2020, that the military could, I mean, do certain things which are not supposed to be done by people that has been properly trained. So at this point in time, the only thing that I will want to say is that the political party followers should go out there to go and challenge them to ensure that they police the place till the following morning.
Okay,
that could be the solution.
Kosi is still with us. You'll be getting your latest figures. Are you surprised at this development?
No, I'm not. It was written on the wall, and we saw how the Electoral Commission even tried to curtail the media coverage of the entire process. So once you juxtapose the two situations together, you could clearly see that was coming. It's the natural order of things to come. So reason right from the beginning, we keep saying that when you vote after voting and you have nothing so important doing at home, make sure you go back to the police stations to police the process until your verdict is declared. So it's not surprising. Now look, when they think that they are going to harm only their political opponents, that will not happen, because there are other people at the police station. Even observers are there. If you go there shooting guns in the air discriminately, you may not know who the bullet might touch. You understand? So the GGA is very right in raising the alarm. But in all this, question will now start being asked: is the Peace Council other people, at the police station? Even observers are listening. You go there on the shooting guns.
They are more like a dormant organization for now,
because
they have a role to play. But what has been the statement from peace council all over. Oh, we should push everything under the carpet. 2020, what happened? 8 people were killed. At the end of the day, what happened? Absolutely nothing. So at this point in time, the only solution is that, if NDC claim that they've won Dosi, Tepa, Mankranso, Edujama, Adansi Asukwa, and other places, they should go there and police the place. Peace Council cannot do anything now. They should go there, mass up there in their thousands. Go and challenge whoever it is holding guns or whatever it is. Go and challenge them.
Yeah,
be there. Be prepared till the following morning.
Yes, last minute move.
It looks like a desperate call by the Ghana Journalists Association. One, as a senior colleague in the industry, it would take an association's president to speak to a microphone on a day the whole international community is
watching,
putting their focus on Ghana, to vent out frustration that obviously exposes lapses that are not anticipated. This is the first time I have witnessed personally, having covered elections since 1992, that we are hearing from a whole body, GJA, telling owners of media houses that take care of your own facilities, because they are calling the IGP, he's not picking it. For me, it's a serious call.
You see, when you're calling people out, there's one person you should have called out: the President of the Republic.
Exactly.
Took my mind back to what Nyaho Tamaklo said. He said, listen, if Akufo-Addo becomes president, we'll learn a bitter lesson of leadership. As much as he has gone out there to deepen this notion, for somebody who is a human rights lawyer, this should not happen under your watch. Now, the will of the people is supreme. That's why we say we practice a democracy. Any attempt to subvert that will means you do not believe in democracy. More or less using the state apparatus, not just to silence people, but to twist their arms and to sway their will aside what they want, is unacceptable. Now, you spoke about the Peace Council, the Ghana Bishops Conference, all these bodies. Over the years, traditionally, they've proved, the
National House of Chiefs, for example.
Yeah, they've proved that they don't, even the media themselves have proved that they would only speak up if it affects them. When that communique was issued on the 25th
of November,
I heard a lot of media people who were either too quiet or blaming the National Democratic Congress for taking the EC on, now get onto their feet and start shouting because it directly affected them. You see, people don't understand that when it rains, it doesn't rain on one person's roof. It rains on all of us. You may not hear it, but when you wake up in the morning, you will see it on the floor. We need to wake up and understand that the will of the people is supreme. Whatever is happening is sad, it's disappointing.
Every length to
this
resist anybody
is not Ghana.
that wants to take
This is not the Ghana Kwame
accountable
Nkrumah fought for.
Should anything
National anthem
go
says we should fight
the way
against
we don't want,
oppressors'
because
rule. And who are
PDP
oppressors?
has
The
spoken
people that
through
deny
Miracles
us of our rights.
and
People have gone to
have
queue.
deliberately put
They've gone to
the
vote because they want to choose a leader that they
who
want.
suggested that he's calling on MPP
Why don't you
supporters
allow their will to stand?
collaborate.
So I call on
cooperate
everybody,
with
as
the
much as
EC
he does, that listen,
and security
it is our will.
officers.
We are more than
Knowing
them.
very well the
It is
results that
us
have been
that
announced at the
decide
polling stations
who
says
leads
that they
us.
have won, and
Nobody else
everything will show
but
at the end of
us.
the day that
And
they have
we would
won.
go every length
that
to resist
NDC
anybody
must not
that
send
wants to
its
take that.
supporters
So
to the
what
police
must
be
be
held
held
accountable
accountable
if anything
should
happens to
anything
them, it is them alone.
the way we don't want. Because
So
the
he is
MPP
directly
has spoken through
warning
Miracles Abuaji.
people who are supposed to be
And
at the coalition
our
centers
deliberately
to protect
put
their own
the
votes, not to go.
categorical
Then
statement
almost
he made,
immediately the
who
Electoral
suggested
Commission
that
comes
he's calling
out
on
to
MPP
also
supporters
suggest that
to
the coalition
collaborate,
center is for only
to
accredited
cooperate
people.
with the
and
EC
therefore only two
and
people
security
for each of the
officers.
representative groups,
Knowing very well the
and the
results
rest
that
are
have
not
been
needed.
announced at the
Eric,
polling
now
stations,
we are
He
observing
he says
results.
that
this
they
were
have won,
your apprehension,
and
some of
everything will
us
show
were
at the end of the
trying
day that they have
to
won.
let you calm
And
down.
that
Yeah.
But it look as
NDC
if
must not
your
send its supporters
prognosis
to the coalition
is
centers,
coming to
because
fester.
if anything happens to
However,
them,
what
it is them
we
alone.
need at this point in time
So
is
he
also
is directly
have a
warning
counter-strategy.
people who are supposed to be at the
Counter-strategy
coalition
is
centers
in
to
the sense
protect their
that
own votes,
I
not to
listened
go.
to Sami
Then
Jammeh,
almost
which
immediately
you
the electoral
mentioned.
commission comes out
They have to
to also suggest
encourage
that
their
the
people
coalition center
go
is for
to
only
those coalition
accredited people,
centers. Go
and
and
therefore
be there.
only two people for
I
each
mean,
of the
they know,
representative groups
it's
must be there,
almost
and the rest are not
12:47.
needed.
Eric,
And now
this
we are
were-
observing
this
the
were
coalition
your
centers
apprehension,
to protect
and
their
some
own
of
votes,
us
If you
were
not
are
to
trying
go.
to
able to
Sami
Then
Jammeh,
almost
let you
immediately
calm
the
down.
electoral
Police the
commission
place,
comes
look
out
at
give
give
to
support
also suggest that the coalition center is for only accredited people,
the following
and therefore
I
only two
don't
people
think that
for
if
each of the representative groups
it's
must
so
be there,
overwhelming.
and the rest are not
Thousands
needed.
of Eric,
And now we are observing the coalition centers to protect their own votes,
if you
not
are
to go.
able
Then almost immediately the electoral commission comes out.
sit aloof. This is the point in time they need to be working their lines to ensure that they activate, I mean, their political mass to go to those places. Without that, they did
9
that to
o'clock in the
NDC.
morning.
You mentioned Sefiu
If
also.
you are
What happened?
able to go
The chief
there
at that place
and police
was
the
able
place,
to organize
give
some
support
group of people,
to your
and they snatched
party
ballot
folks
boxes
out there.
here and there. Look at
Be
what
there
happened
till
at
the
Techiman.
following morning. I don't think
Techiman,
that
the same
if
thing
their
happened.
number
Other constituencies,
is
those
so
things happen.
overwhelming,
Do you want the
thousands
same
of
replica
people
again?
mass up to
Without you
coalition
putting
center,
in
I don't
preventive
think that
measures this
EC
time
officers
to
will be able
safeguard
to
the
manipulate
constituencies
any
that
result
you've
unless
won. You
the
should be able to
NDC
galvanize
party
your
sit
people. You should
aloof.
be able to mobilize
This
your
is the
people
point in time they
in
need to be
whatever
working
form,
their lines
such
to
that you
ensure
go
that they
there and
activate,
protect
I mean,
their vote.
their political
So
mass.
at this point in time,
To go to
there is
those
no
places.
begging business
Without
of
that,
telling
They did that to NDC. You
whatever,
mentioned Sefiu
National
also.
Peace
What
Council or
happened?
whatever it is.
The chief at that place was able to organize some
telling
group of
Ghanaians that
people,
let's
and they
put
snapped
that matter
ballot boxes
aside.
here and there.
And let's
Look at what
focus
happened
on
at Techiman.
2024 election.
Techiman, the same thing
down.
happened.
Let's try
Other
to do
constituencies,
that. All
those things
those
happen.
people,
Do you want the same replica again?
I mean,
Without you
solid
putting
people.
in
Now we've
preventive
lost
measures
two
this
people
time
already.
to safeguard
So,
the
National
constituencies
Peace
that
Council or Catholic
you've won,
Bishop Conference
you
or
should be
whatever
able
it
to
is.
galvanize your
Those
people.
group
You
of-
should be able to mobilize your people
affiliations or
in whatever
association
form.
cannot do
Such
anything.
that will go there and
The party
protect
folks should mass
their
up
vote.
to those places
So
to
at this
protect
point in
their
time,
ballot.
there
That
is no
what I would
begging
say.
business of
before
telling
Kosi comes in with the latest
whatever
on the
National Peace
collated
Council or whatever it
figures
is,
from the
8
NDC's,
people died at the end of the day. They were just telling Ghanaians that let's put that matter aside and let's focus on 2024 election. Oh, let's try to water down. Let's try
many
to
of
do
them
that.
they believe
All those
is
people.
what will reflect on
Now,
electoral commission's
I mean,
dashboard.
8 solid
We are
people.
only waiting
Now
for
we've
the
lost
Electoral
2
Commission
people already.
to go ahead to begin
So
the process
National Peace
of
Council
telling
or
us
Catholic
what
Bishop Conference
maybe
or
the
whatever
NDC
it
knows
is,
already.
those group of
What we understand,
I mean
is that
affiliations or
process
association
has been delayed
cannot do
in some
anything.
parts of the country,
The
particularly
party folks
in
should
Ashanti has
mass
been called
up
out
to those
where
places
it is
to
alleged
protect their ballot. That is what I would
Okay,
say.
so- before Kosi comes
Comes
in
in
with
with
the
the
latest
latest
on
on
the
the
collated figures from the NDC's
deployment of
center, that's where the coalition of results from the polling stations are. We've shared with you a number of the provisional results that are in.
Before the
Many of them they believe
ECOWAS
is what
observer
will
mission
reflect on
came to Ghana.
electoral commission's dashboard.
visited John
We are
Dramani
only
Mahama,
waiting for the electoral commission
engaged
to
government,
go ahead to
they
begin the
engaged the
process
electoral
of
commission.
telling us what
I believe that
maybe the
we are
NDC
here
knows
in
already.
Ghana monitoring
What we
elections.
understand is that that
went
process
out
is
as
being
an
delayed
observer.
in some
Did you
parts of
come
the
across
country,
some of them?
particularly
What
in
are the
Ashanti has been
protocols
called out,
around
where
an
it is
election
alleged that some
clearly
centers
has been
where
won
NDC won
by
and has already
one
put
group.
out some
If you
figures
have
that
to
we have
fall
shared
on
with
these
you.
provisional figures,
There are
and
deployment
it is
of
turning
military
out
personnel,
that something funny
and obviously
is about to
we
unfold.
know what
So
will happen because the
interesting.
NDC has vowed that over their dead bodies.
We had a meeting with
Before the
ECOWAS
elections,
Observer Mission as well.
The ECOWAS Observer Mission came to Ghana.
You know, when they came in,
They
wanted
visited
to
John
meet
Dramani
with the
Mahama.
chair
They
of
engaged
the
government.
You know what
They
she
engaged the electoral commission.
She,
I believe that
she was
they are
in
here
office
in Ghana
and sent her
monitoring
to
the
place to go
elections.
and meet with the
You
boss
went out as an observer. Did
Clearly,
you come
she
across some
doesn't
of them?
want to
What
even
are the
have
protocols
any engagement
around
with,
an election
the
which
observer missions.
clearly has been won by
what they
one
said
group?
is that
If we have to
they-
fall
they
on these
can't
provisional
interfere
figures,
in whatever
and
is
it is
happening in
turning
Ghana.
out
So
that
the
something
advice they
funny
can give
is
you
about to unfold.
Is the
So
will of the
interestingly,
people. And the will
the
of the people
past
must be
day,
protected.
we had a
by
meeting with the
people
ECOWAS
themselves.
observer mission as well.
Reason
And-
right from the beginning.
You know, when they
NDC
came in,
itself
they
and
wanted to meet
all
with
of
the
us have
chair
seen
of the EC.
Whatever
You know
it
what
is,
she did?
police the process right from
She
the beginning to the
she was
Okay,
in her office
so,
and sent her to the people
obviously
to go and
people
meet
be
with the
hungry
ECOWAS
for
observer mission.
the latest
Clearly, she doesn't want
the
to
man with the
even
data,
have any
Kosi
engagement with
Fiaka.
you know,
Definitely,
is with us, but
the
I'm picking
observer
information
mission.
that are central to be
Now,
specific. There's some funny
what they
thing
said is that
going on. It's alleged that
they can't interfere.
they are trying
in
to
whatever
swap
is
some
happening in
8
Ghana.
votes
So the
in
advice
favor
they can
of
give
the
is
winning
that
party.
is
And
the
this
will of the
information
people.
that is coming
And
to
the
us.
will of the
So
people
it's
must be
still an
protected
allegation.
by the people
In due
themselves.
course, we'll try to get in touch with officials
Reason right from
and
the
share with you
beginning,
what we
the
can
NDC itself
specifically
and
speak to.
all of us
But I got
have
this
been saying
information from the
whatever
MP
it is,
for
police the process
South
right
by,
from the beginning to the end.
Okay, so
Roxanne.
he obviously people will be hungry for the latest update,
And so I will tell you
the man
source,
with the
but
data,
I consider
Kosi
it still an
Fiaka,
allegation
definitely
till
that's with us. But I'm
verified.
picking information
But
that are
we don't
central
have
to
any
be
doubt,
specific. There's some
about
funny
somebody
thing
of that stature
going on. It's
sharing
alleged
this
that
information with us anyway.
they are trying to swap some
Definitely. Let me
8
back
votes
into the numbers.
yes,
but
in favor
this is when
of
an
the
animal is
winning
about to
party.
die struggles.
And there's the information that is
I mean,
coming
that's what
to
the old
us.
people say.
So it's still an allegation.
Yeah, but let's get back into the numbers.
In due
That's where the
course,
real
we'll try to
struggle
get
is.
in
That's where
touch
the
with
real
officials
fight is.
and share with you
numbers
what we
don't
can
lie. And
specifically
for a lot of these
speak
figures,
to. But I got
they
this
have been,
information from
collated
the MP
from
for
pink sheets
South
from
Dai,
polling stations across the length
Dapamapo
and the breadth
Roxanne.
of
He
Ghana. So
called
going to
me
the general
a few
figures
minutes
first.
ago
I know the
and
viewers
shared
on TV
this
and on
information
Facebook, on
with
YouTube,
me.
wherever you're
And
watching
so
us,
I will tell you
across the
the
world, are
source,
very
but I
interested in the
consider
numbers.
it
We're going to
still
crunch
an allegation
every
to
single one of them.
verify.
Can you just
But
leave me the
we don't
numbers,
have
guys?
any doubt
Yes.
about
So,
somebody of that stature
kindly we stand
sharing
at
this information with us anyway.
a total of
Definitely,
$10,889,000.
I mean, back into the numbers. Yes, back into
They say
the
when an
numbers.
animal is about to die, it struggles.
Oh,
I mean, that's what the old people
it's
say.
just a last minute fight.
Definitely, yeah. But let's get back into the numbers. That's where the real struggle is. That's where the real fight is. Because the numbers don't lie. And for a lot of these figures, they have been collated from pink sheets from polling stations across the length and the breadth of Ghana. So we're going to the general figures first. I know the viewers on TV and on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're watching us across the world, are very interested in the numbers. We're going to crunch every single one of them. Mr. Hanyas, leave me the numbers, guys. So, yes. So
on our dashboard. And
kindly
this
we
is how
stand
it
at
stands.
a total of 10,889,350.
Stands at 56.4%. That represents 6,142,070 votes. 6,000,000.
Somebody said rejected ballots is doing better than a lot of the
new patriotic
other,
parties candidates,
all the third
Muhammad
parties
Al-Haji
put together are doing 254,996. Rejected ballot alone is doing 222,550. So I think we should find him and maybe put him on the ballot next time.
493.
But then again, 37,982 out of the 40,976 polling stations have their results on our dashboard, and this is how it stands. So His Excellency John Dramani Mahama of the National Democratic Congress stands at 56.4%. That represents 6,142,070
based on the fact that this is coming 142,070 votes.
It's looking like an overwhelming victory already for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Barring any changes, I doubt there will be any significant ones.
Represented by 4,493,000 results.
We've been going through the regions as well, trying to crunch the numbers and make do the analysis and make the comparisons. And like I said earlier, the other candidates all together have particular elections together and money to get. Where the National Democratic Congress has done a lot of work on the ground, appreciating votes, and the New Patriotic Party has dwindled quite 53. This is what the picture of the regions we analyze, like the strongholds, the Eastern region, the Ashanti region. If this is anything to go by, based on the fact that this is coming a lot of inroads in these regions, contributing significantly. It's looking like an overwhelming victory already in their votes. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, barring any changes, I doubt there will be any significant ones. And they consolidated their gains there. Result. We've been going through the region. Before we went for the break, we wanted to zoom our radar
onto the Greater Accra region, which is a very interesting region. It's very interesting because they say they are the kingmakers, and there's everybody that you want to find in the Greater Accra region. In fact, we're right here in the Greater Accra region. So I'm going to zoom straight into the results from the Greater Accra region as they do come in. We currently have 7,105 polling stations out of 7,914. So that's a significant chunk of polling stations from the Greater Accra region. So going into the Greater Accra region, in fact, we're right here.
I want us to go into some constituencies. Now, key constituency of the Greater Accra region, there's the Domi Kwabena constituency. There's something interesting happening at Domi Kwabena. I don't know if you've noticed there, but then there's something interesting happening. Domi Kwabena is a known MPP stronghold. In fact, the NDC has not come close to winning that constituency. But look now at what's happening at Domi Kwabena. Let's look at these figures. Very interesting figures coming out here. There's something interesting now. Kindly, that based on what has been counted, 326 out of 370. So we do have a little over.
She put in the work that she did in 2020, then it means that she could still actually close the gap. Then the factor you also bring in, the Adwoa Safo and then the Michael Kwejinia factor. Once there's a bit of division and your opponent is, putting in the work, the actual work, she put in the work that she did in 2020, then it means that she could still actually close the gap. Then the factor you also when it was a bit Adwoa Safo and then the force that then this candidate once there's a bit of division and then and she's getting now for me I'm not too surprised because put in the work that she did in 2020 then it means that look she could still actually close the gap. Then the factor you also when it was a bit Adwoa Safo and then the force that then this candidate once there's a bit of division and she's getting now for me adding the work of course this is put in the work that she did in 2020. If you look at the constituency, and I'm sure Likplim is doing something that they actually love because it's for a candidate for the first time to pull that number amount of votes to close the gap, something really she's actually doing something which is actually generating the results.
Amazing. Now let's look as well as other people that seem to be doing something. Now I'm going to go straight to some of the coastal communities. Now key among them, the Lejokuku constituency. Now Lejokuku is, I believe, one of the most interesting constituencies when it comes to Ghanaian election. In fact, it used to be Lejokuku Krowo. They split the two. Then we now have Lejokuku and Krowo. Now they have the history of changing their MPs very often. Now let's look at Lejokuku, where His Excellency John Dramani Mahama this year polled 51,425 votes, and the MPP Dr. Bawumia polled 26,000. Significant in Lejokuku. It's normally a constituency that is not this far apart. It's a constituency that has the legendary Oko Boy coming up against Benjamin Ayiku in Parliament. People said, listen, Oko Boy might just take that seat back. We're yet to find out if he managed to. But with this gap, I very strongly doubt if Oko Boy did. But this is a statement. Now, with 296 out of 353, 51,000 and 26,196, it doesn't look like this gap will be bridged. It will take a considerable miracle. Maybe we should call miracles Abuaje to help us to do that.
The miracles.
Definitely, he believes in miracles. So yeah, definitely. But this is significant. Now let's look at the sister the sister constituency, Krowo. Now, Krowo and Lejokuku always vote in the same way, in the same pattern. And I'm sure later when we come and speak to Eric, he will give us a brief overview of what those look like. Yeah. But they vote the same way. Now, Krowo as well made a statement, 37,753 currently. 230 out of 246, 18,883. I was also with these constituencies always make a statement because they always change their MP. Yes. They are said to be the only constituencies that vote on conscience a lot of times. But what do these results reflect?
So yet again, basically the same trend across the entire country. Now, Krowo and Lejokuku, when you look at the trend or the historical data, like we rightly said, they most of the time mirrors whatever sentiment the country is carrying along the time. And you could see that from after 2016, the sentiments are moving to a certain direction. That's why the NDC won those seats, in 2020. Then the sentiments become very worse, or the actual reality of the sentiments become very worse. Then so you don't really expect them to depart from what they usually do. Once the country says, or the entire sentiments around the country is saying that things are very bad, Krowo and Lejokuku will go the same way. So it's not too surprising for some of us.
Definitely. So Krowo is represented by Namumo Latte Agnes, doing a great job in that constituency, and Benjamin Ayiku for the National Democratic Congress is their representative in Parliament. We would go through those results for parliamentary as well as we do go along the show. So we'll move on. Still in the Greater Accra region. We come to another interesting one, the Tema West constituency. Now, Tema West is a strange one. We've had a lot of behemoths, the likes of Samuel Ufosuampofo, the likes of Raphael Tufuo, etc., standing in that constituency. It was a seat occupied by the famous Carlos Ahinkra. But Tema West, for the first time in 2018, I mean, it was occupied at a point also by Irene Toshi Ado. It was a deep blue constituency, NPP through and through. But this year, Tema West is looking very interesting. With 282 out of 285, the NDC stand at 49,755. That's against, let's get that, 47,046. That's against 26,348. This is unprecedented in Tema. It's a constituency I know very, very well, and this is unprecedented.
Tema West?
Yes, Tema West.
Yes, again, let's go back again to 2020. Yeah. You remember Tema West was going to be an NDC seat. Then around this time, in the middle of the night, what is happening now happened.
Yeah, I heard it at Temasco. There was a swap of ballot boxes, and
then we were told in the first count, if I remember correctly, the NDC candidate was leading. Then along the line, we were told that some new pink sheets were brought in. That was when you see some military people jump onto the tables with guns and all that. Then all of a sudden, Carlos was insisting there should be a recount. Then after that, the entire thing turned. So it was a long time coming. It was coming.
As we speak, Sami Jemfi, who is the National Communications Officer of the NDC, has put on his Facebook this red alert. It says, why is the EC refusing to start collating the Tepa constituency, that's collation at Tepa, when they have the full complement of ballot boxes and pink sheets? And what are those 50 military men doing at the constituency collation center? This is what Sami Jemfi has put there. And I'm just updating by way of information that people are confidently putting on their Facebook walls. And these are people who are credible, either members of parliament or people who are of a certain stature in the various political parties, particularly the NDC, which is technically smiling away because of results that appear to be in their favor. For example, Western region, somebody has put out there 15 out of 17 seats gone green. I don't have any evidence. The EC will announce results. I'm only dealing with provisional results. I'm sure after Kosi has finished with Greater Accra, we'll go to Western Region to look at some of those areas. And then on somebody's Facebook wall, they have asked, Takwa, why is it that they are sending soldiers to the coalition center? In 2020, there was an incident at Takwa, and if you recall, it nearly turned violent. And that's and that's what I'm saying. I've seen Fantiakwa North, 24 years. Fantiakwa North, after 24 years, has gone green. Abra Asebu Mankese, I've seen Kwacho Fosu getting all types of praises. Then Hohoi, Walanyo Chekpo is also seen being praised along, and so it would mean if EC officially comes out that maybe if everything goes well according to what we are observing and sharing with you, John Peter Mewu will be no more the MP for Hohoi. And then I've seen Second D, I've seen Kwesimintim, and then Efia, and all these are trending.
Escado.
These are signals that the governing party may be losing a number of seats, and that would mean the NDC is likely to get a comfortable majority in parliament. Now, look at these statistics. Volta region, NDC swept all the seats if EC confirms what we have seen. 18 out of 18. Savannah region, 7 out of 7, all going for NDC according to the provisional results. Oti region, 9 out of 9 constituency, all going for the NDC according to the provisional results. Upper West, 11 out of 11. Upper East, 15 out of 15. And it keeps on and on and on. And I'm sure many of you following social media conversations, either Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to, they call it X. And then we have the TikToks and other things that young men and women like playing with. Apps for me, I'm not a young man anymore, so I don't go there very often. But I believe that what we are discussing is being churned out there. And so the question is, why EC and the delay? Kosi, wrap up on Greater Accra region and take us to Western region so that we can look at Takwa to be specific.
Fantastic. So I'll take you to a few more constituencies in the Greater Accra region. Some of them don't need taking through, like Ningo Pram, where some Jata George would comfortably sweep that as we do go along. Now, Ayawaso West Wogon. That's a very interesting one. I think we find ourselves in that constituency as we speak. Ayawaso West Wogon is interesting. Now, Ayawaso West Wogon has traditionally been an MPP seat all through. The NDC has never won that seat. But now, look at what Ayawaso West Wogon is looking like. The NDC currently, with 175 out of 246 polling stations counted and put on the system, are standing at 30,654 votes. While the MPP are trailing with 17,686. And that is a significant gap for...
This is presidential, right?
Yes, presidential. It's significant. It hasn't happened before. Mr. Agwe, I mean, Ayawaso West Wogon, does this surprise you?
No, I'm not surprised because I was at the MPP's final rally on 2 occasions. And I've been jumping to University of Ghana campus almost every single day. So I know the atmosphere there very, very well. With the exception of where we are now, it's where I don't know much. But within the University of Ghana enclave, all the way to East Legon proper, all those places, Agbogba, all those places. I mean, John is quite a formidable candidate there. And the students are happy with John Domelo. So, since yesterday, within the university campuses, there are, some halls that they used to manipulate figures and all that. Yesterday night, around 11:45 p.m., students were just monitoring and policing all those, halls throughout the night. So this morning, a lot of students were ready to support John Domelo. So around 3 p.m., 4 p.m. thereabout, students started, jubilating that John Domelo is actually going to win the election. So when I left here and went to the University of Ghana campus, came back, I realized that a lot of things started changing, quickly. So I am not surprised that we are seeing this magnitude of figures. Coming from Ayawaso, West Wogon. So by tomorrow morning, maybe by 9:10 a.m. thereabout.
It's almost 1. So yes.
This morning I am trying to maybe going to see what will be the political atmosphere at University of Ghana campus.
But people say the Lydia Gate scandal. You know what the Lydia Gate scandal is?
Oh yes, as for sharing of people are even saying that she should go to the University of Ghana campus this morning and start sharing more fried rice to students more than even the security officers and all that. So I mean, it has become more like a teasing game now. But the most important thing is that the political parties should police various collation centers so that nothing untoward happen. For me, that would be.
Said, the signs were written on the wall.
Yes.
When the provisional results were being announced at the polling station level, you would notice that the campus, which used to be the
breast basket of the MPP.
They used to brag
the bread basket of
the NDC wins in Zongos and the MPP wins.
And you know that the peripherals of the constituency, and you mentioned Mimpiasem and all those places, traditionally they have been voting NDC. But many people, as he said, the business community, and many of them live within the East Illegal enclave. They are losing their businesses because of the poor performance of the city. And so you notice that many of them may have fallen out of love of the NDC, NPP, because the NPP packaged itself as a party that works or is appeasing to the working middle upper class.
Capitalist.
Yes. But the kind of governance we have seen under NPP, where the high level of impunity has become a nuisance and very nauseating to people who watch governance reduced to such a level, who see Ghana as a country which has been reduced, or the decadence level is to the extent that institutions can no longer be trusted. I believe that this level-headed class within the academia and all the kinds of people you see within that belt would not countenance what will bring the image in Ghana that low. A lot of them are people who have invested so much in the financial sector, and many people have monies that have been slashed because of the DDEP or whatever haircut they call about. They are virtually angry, especially when they can see people in government demonstrate this level of opulence
just around them
and on them. And it's like they have worked hard to earn their income, and people misbehave, borrow so much, waste it on populous things, and at the end of the day they come and just feed into their savings and reduce them to what they are. Again, young men and women, and if you watch the reaction to John Mohammed's campaign in 2024, the youth had actually been captured. So wherever you went, you could see that the youth had taken up this NDC campaign as their bona fide agenda, because it was something that was going to shape their future. And having monitored social media, having monitored people of a certain level, look, if Sophia Akufu, who was an appointee at Akufo-Addo, will be so bitter about how bad governance has been, can you imagine the influence it will have on young men and women who are students in our campuses? If lecturers will be so disappointed in government to the extent that they openly speak out and condemn the way the judiciary, the electoral commission, SHRAJ, all these institutions of state that must be working at least to protect our democracy, when they go to their lecture halls and they are lecturing students, look, all of us have been students before. Sometimes lecturers, in as much as they are teaching us, their utterances, the gestures they make, the insinuations they cast, they have strong influence on the reasoning of students.
But you see, there was somebody who sent me a message, which I even put out. He said, when they was on campus, one of the lecturers who used to try and get them to vote for the MPP was one of the people who went to picket at the Ministry of Finance to beg for his own pension investment.
No, you know, look at
Legon Enclave for Ayawaso Wezo. UPSA is there. Legon is also there. Now, look, from the beginning of this year, if you notice, most of the lecturers who were more like MPP top guys stopped
talking,
speaking on behalf of the MPP.
Yeah.
The economics, political scientists, I mean, all over. They all kept
So
mute.
was it government's own making to this, if the provisional results stand as it is, this overwhelming embarrassment
Yes.
by way of defeat?
No, even look at, of course, look at their last rally. Look at the number of people, even wearing their, the students wearing their t-shirt. Yet, when they are interviewed, they tell you, no, I'm not going to
They
vote
say
for these people.
Yeah.
Now let's go to Western region.
Okay, so we move.
Even at a point in time last week, they brought Samira Baumia to campus.
To come and
Yeah.
whip up
To come and help Sayyiram Al Hassan on campus, and it was not a good atmosphere at all. I was on campus.
As the results were trickling in,
I mean, that's a
you
political
could tell
matter.
that the MP Lydia
Yes.
was losing at the campuses.
Exactly.
And obviously, if she's losing so much at the campuses, then I'm not surprised at what we have seen. But Western region,
Definitely. So I mean, before we go to Western region, the numbers are going up now. We've got 38,099 out of 40,976. So we are inching closer to that 40,000 mark. Significantly, John Dramani Mahama 6,161,084 votes, 56.39%. Mahamadou Baumia Alhaji 41.27%. That comes up to 4,508,771. So we're going straight to the Western region. Yawazoe.
West side.
Yeah, West Side legacy. Tadi for Oaha. Okay, so Western region, another very interesting one. Now we'll start off by looking at some of the interesting constituencies in the Western region. Takrady. Now Takrady is known to be an MPP stronghold as well.
Seriously.
It's one that you would not blink twice to dash over to the MPP. I mean, I was in Takrady recently and I picked up sentiments. Now somebody told me Takrady used to be a beautiful city. I asked her why. She said, listen, you go here and they've touched this road and they've left it. They've touched that road and they've left it, and now it's become a very dusty city with dwindling economic activity. Then again, they weren't getting enough from the oil. It was called the oil city, ideally. Now, did that reflect in the way they voted? Let's find out. So Takrady, as it stands, the MPP polled 15,584. NDC currently, that's 121 out of 121, so all polling stations are in. 15,584, and the NDC 15,247. So that's a difference of what, 200 votes?
that close.
That's very close.
These are provisional results anyway.
Definitely. I mean, from the pink sheets that have been gathered across. But
my brother is in the other policies as we speak, and he's been updating, and he directly said that it's likely the parliament, the presidential may be close like that, but he's saying it's likely the parliamentary is going to go green. That's what they are looking at. But well, we'll wait to confirm the actual distance.
So next, another one. Another very important one. The Twin Cities, they call them Sekondi.
Let's look at
Esikado
Keten.
Another very good. So Esikado Ketan.
Esikado down.
No,
up a bit. One step. Come down.
Esikado Ketan, yes. So Esikado Ketan, the NDC still seems to be doing a good job in Esikado Ketan. 19,552 and 15,582 to the MPP. Does that surprise you?
Not at all. Now again, we'll go back to 2020. You remember what happened in 2020? Clearly, the NDC won at least the parliamentary. It was very clear that Dr. Ayensu, right?
Yes.
Won that seat. But then, again, these shenanigans that we're talking about happened. Then, all of a sudden, that's
the results were being manipulated.
So, and one thing is becoming very clear. Wherever they did all those shenanigans,
the chickens are coming home to roost.
Yes, and the people this time around are saying, as if they are not going to make it that close for you to, when you come and do those your maneuvering, then you would say that no, I've won it. So that's why the gap
widening it.
Is widening.
They are bringing their own referee.
Yes, and they are making sure they police it. And as you speak, even at Escado, Second D, and then Takrady, it's the people that policing the ballot.
So the statue didn't do
They
anything.
are still there as we speak.
The statue didn't do anything.
And that's even an insult to them in the first place.
Wow.
You see, look, the road is very dusty. You've not finished constructing the road. The hospital, you've not finished the whatever block you are adding or renovation you are doing. You've not finished. Then you go and place a statue in the middle of the dust. Then, as if that is not enough, a whole president went there to go and unveil such a statue. In that environment, as we speak, the interchange is still.
There's one interchange. Oh, the Takrady interchange.
Yes.
Yeah. The one around the mall.
The flyover.
The flyover. Yeah.
That's stalled for a long time.
For a very long time. Yet, you hear, like, we've done this for you, we've done a lot, but the reality is not
I'm
reflected.
still interested in the figures.
The reality is in the numbers.
Because those who are watching us
Yes.
are still waiting for the EC to come out.
Yeah.
In as much as they are appreciating the analysis we are doing,
The
they are
figures
also
would-
saying
yeah.
that
They want the
figures need to
figures.
hear. Now, before we took our first the break that brought us back, I said we were going to look at the Bono East,
Yes.
and then Ahafo regions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I made a specific reference that John Mahama's wife come from that enclave, and so
Yes.
let's see if her support to Asedun Ketia and Sami Jemfi yielded some results.
Yeah, so we'll start off in the Ahafo region currently. The Ahafo region in total 799 out of 836 polling stations. The NDC currently stands at 121,990 Ahafo region. So Sunafo North has the NDC winning by some 3,000 as it stands.
That's the projected
206
provisional result.
out of 210. Tano South 141 out of 146. That's a very slim one.
Yeah, but Thanos South, I am reliably informed that Thanos South, at least for the parliamentary, NDC has taken it.
Okay. So that's very slim. Now Tano North as well, the MPP seems to have a grip of that particular
that's
constituency.
the spokesperson of Dr. Baumier's constituency.
Gideon Buako.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sunafo South, is that where Eric Opoku is?
I think
Sunafo
so.
South,
That
that
is
is
Sifi.
Eric.
I don't know. I will
Oh,
check.
is it?
Sutufi is Collins
Dauda,
Dauda.
yeah.
Sunafo South is Eric Opoku.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's
So that's 20,966 presidential for John Mahama, and then Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia 16,287, 115 out of 131 seats still counting.
Then it's Tutufi North 110 out of 110. John Mahama is standing at 16,797 and Mahamadou Bawumia Alhaji 14,587. And it's Tutufi South still looking as green as.
So this Ahafo region. Let's look at Bono region.
Okay, so we're going straight to the Bono region. Interesting. So we start off in the Sunyani constituencies, and the Sunyani East seemed very close. Very, very close. 258 out of 262 more. We don't know how much of a difference that will make, but very, very close. Just a little over 92 votes separate the two parties as we stand in that region. The famous Tain, the famous election decider.
And that was 2008.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you should have have you seen that movie, the African election?
Yeah.
That documentary, interesting documentary. So Tain, 145 out of 159. The NDC seem to have established a certain stronghold in Tain. Now the Doma constituencies and the Brekum constituencies are also ones that we should look at. Now Doma East, the MPP are edging it, 12,236. The NDC have 11,218. For somewhere that a lot of people will claim is an MPP area, it's pretty close.
Yeah, because when you look at the 2020 result, even 2016 and 2020 result, you see that the gap is quite wide.
That's,
A percentage point of almost,
Is it Ajima Menu
Yeah.
constituency?
yeah, almost about 34% points, difference between the MPP and the NDC. So for that gap to now become very narrow, again, it tells you the trend,
But
which is not going to change.
Yeah. But Brekum East and Brekum West, interesting one. This is one that the political scientists will look into. Both Brekum East and Brekum West, traditionally not your typical NDC seats. But what flipped it for NDC? I mean, as it stands or as it looks.
From my tour of this particular region, I noticed that there were issues that chiefs openly spoke about with regards to abandoned cocoa roads. These people are typical cashew growers or cocoa farmers.
True.
And they were benefiting from free fertilizer, were benefiting from other support that was giving them some leverage in cocoa cultivation. Beyond that, they were also given some good amount of money in terms of percentages, i.e. the producer price of cocoa government was offering, and they had bonuses. All this changed. Now, these cocoa roads were not just helping to move cocoa from the hinterland through the major roads to Takoradi Port for export, but the road by themselves, after the construction, was going to enhance the lives of the people for the movement of goods and services from one location to the other. They complained bitterly because many of those roads, which were just at the stage of bitumen and then the graveling or whatever, I'm not a technical person, so but I think that's appropriate. That's the terms they use. Had deteriorated to the extent that if it were culverts or drains that had been constructed, you could see erosion that had actually chopped off, and so you can even see the foundation of the major drains that had been constructed along the sides of the road. Again, you would also notice that many of these communities don't have just access to telephony services, and many of the health and school projects had been abandoned. So you would see chiefs openly endorsing John Mahama and asking their subjects or their people to vote for him by way of protest against some of the things that had been left, neglect totally. We went to Wenchi, for example. Wenchi is supposed to be the home region of Dr. Abrifa Buzia. Look, anybody watching us can confirm that if you go to Wenchi and you see the major roads within the Wenchi township, you would ask yourself, is it because the NDC won the election in 2020, and regardless of Dr. Abrifa Buzia being one of the founding members of the MPP today, the government will just punish the people by neglecting them under an era where we've had year of roads phase 1, year of roads phase 2. Again, if you go to those Bono areas, you'd notice that the people were also believing in some of the promises the NDC had put across. The farmer service centers, the 24-hour economy. They were looking at projects or programs that were directly targeting young men and women. And these are people who don't have jobs. And so it is not an issue of an MPP which has failed and for which reason Ghanaians are just voting. It is a group of people in Ghana who have a revived confidence in John Dramani Mahama, on his track record, on his demeanor, his actions as a candidate in opposition. He's come back, and people are openly apologizing. Look, Kennedy Japan is not an ordinary man in the MPP. He rose to become a presidential candidate. For him, not once, not twice, to go on television, radio, and apologize to John Dramani Mahama is very significant. It makes him cleaner in the eyes of the same Ghanaians. They succeeded in brainwashing to believe that he's one of the most, they use the word incompetent. Now, the former national security operatives, the betweener for Akufo-Addo and Sewabro, what's his name?
Adoye Hobson.
Hobson Adoye. For Hobson Adoye, a confidant of Nana Akufo-Addo, according to Broni, to come and say openly that Mahama, I'm sorry, makes a significant impact on young men and women. For Captain Smart, who is a known outspoken journalist, to openly confess that he was part of a certain modus operandi against John Mahama, to come and confess is significant. And we have a number of people who are not ordinary, but people of a certain stature who have influence in society, who, after all what people heard, irrespective of John Mahama's track record in the energy sector, in the health sector, in the road sector, and water sector, name them, with all what people had witnessed, for them to come and say, after Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia had been made to Ghanaians to believe that they were the saviors of this country, to sit on TV and radio to openly confess, should tell you that the same people who traditionally would have gone against John Mahama are now saying that, look, so we have after all been misled, which has been complemented by the failure to fulfill the promises that were put before Ghanaians. And so what is happening in the Bono areas, with reference to the Wenchi, which began the pivot of all the things I'm referencing, is not a surprise at all. And I believe that that is what has reflected across the country. So this trend is not limited to region, but if you look at all the 16 regions, the trend is the same. NPP is not doing better than 2020. NDC has shored up votes compared to 2020, and you would notice that NDC is taking more seats as we speak. In 2020, it was not a surprise. NPP won by over 1 million votes, and it became the mantra that.
No, actually, it wasn't. No, it wasn't even over 1 million.
So I'm talking about 2016.
No, even that, it was just mere rhetoric. It was around 900,000.
But the mantra was that they beat Mahama hands down.
Yeah, 1 million votes.
With 1 million votes. Now, with this goodwill that they had, if they had actually subjected Ghana to the development many people anticipated, I don't think that at the exit of a party that had that overwhelming support to come into power in January 2017, having done 8 years with all the expectations and the high hopes, will be going back with close to 1.5 million votes down. For me, if these provisional results are confirmed by the Electoral Commission, then it will be the most embarrassing statement they will leave, or the blot that will be on themselves as they exit.
Exactly. Could you project Wenchi
again
for us to see? I want to see the Wenchi figures very well, because the vice presidential candidate visited that place quite not long ago. You remember that he visited a certain shrine, Kwekufri, at that place. That is Wenchi area. We call that place Mwase. It's a notable place, you know, Mwase, in the Wenchi districts.
We'll go into that. We'll go into the figures. But I don't just come bearing figures. I normally come bearing some very good news and great tidings as well. I mean, we've been going through these results, and we've been running through and trying to crunch the figures. There's one man who this means a lot more to than it probably does to us. One man who has gone out there to serve this country as diligently as he could. One man who Ghana is on the verge of reposing their trust in again. So I come bearing exclusive content. Trust me, you would not get this anywhere else but right here on Weasel Television. So I'm going to do a very quick countdown into exclusive content. So for everything that we're doing here, we're churning out the figures from our strong room, our collation center. And guess who is at the collation center as well, going through the figures and having a broad smile on his face. So exclusive content. First time play of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in the strong room, going through the figures just as you and I are.
The victory of Muhammad. of Muhammad. The victory of Muhammad. The victory of Muhammad. The victory of Muhammad. The victory.